Now I want to tell you about James Cromwell. He reprised the role in the hit sequel Babe, Pig in the City.
That'll do, Pig. That'll do.
Some of his other memorable motion picture work includes the Academy Award-winning The Artist, The Longest Yard, I, Robot, Frank Darabont's The Green Mile, Stephen Frear's Oscar-nominated The Queen, Secretariat, Spider-Man 3, L.A. Confidential, and so many others. Throughout the 70s and 80s, he appeared on practically every prominent show of the day. From Eight is Enough to Barney Miller to Hill Street Blues to MASH and so many others. And now, James Cromwell joins us here on The Rich Stevens Show. James, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And yourself?
I am very well and excited to have you on the broadcast today. Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
Can you believe it's been 22 years since Babe? How does this make you feel?
Old. No, I was sort of old then, too. I don't keep track of the time. I just try to do it one day at a time.
One day at a time. Was that one of the shows that you were on, by the way?
Yeah, one day at a time.
I like the way you got that in there. You know, there was a period, there were from the 70s to the 80s where you were in practically every big TV show of the day. Do any of these shows particularly stand out for you?
Well, I owe my career to Norman Lear, and so every show that I did with him was always a pleasure because he's an extraordinary man, and he did very, very good work. So that was a lot of fun. And then I got a chance to do 6 Feet Under, I did a number of other shows that are pretty special, I think, in the history of television, and they'll be remembered. And so I had a very, very nice television career.
Were any of them not exciting for you, but had an exceptional experience for you?
Not exciting, but exceptional?
Yeah.
Well, the work is pretty much the same. It's done the same way. The show is a success. It's a success based on, the writing and the performance of the leading actor and its position in the schedule. And so you come in and you're there to support the leading man and to tell your story. You're part of the story. And so the fun part of it is whatever the atmosphere, if the set is comfortable, the way it was with, Rockford Files, or has a great deal of pressure because it's live, the way it was with All in the Family and the Nancy Walker Show and all the other Norman Lear shows that I did, Hot L Baltimore, and then all the notoriety that went along with Hot L Baltimore because it was banned in Baltimore and several other cities. Basically, working is there are good days and there are bad days.
So it's like any other line of work. We're talking to the actor, James Cromwell. Speaking of All in the Family, Stretch Cunningham in person, do people still talk to you about that?
Not so much. Henny Youngman was the last person who used to talk to me about it. I would see him on the street every once in a while, and he would tell me one of his ba-dum-bump jokes, and or cab drivers would roll down their window and say, "Hey, Stretch, how you doing?"
I love that.
Doesn't happen so much anymore.
So now I'm going to end up being the last one, Rich Stevens, right?
You're the last one.
Have you ever turned down a film or a TV show because, and I know you're really into politics and that kind of stuff. I don't want to go that route. I just want to know, have you ever turned down one because of its politics or wish somewhere in the process that you turned it down because it ended up bringing in politics?
No, not for that reason. I've never been, I think people understand where I stand and don't offer me things. The politics, and for the most part in Hollywood films, is very muted. L.A. Confidential is a perfect example. The film is a great, beautifully told and written and acted story about the characters in it. There was a whole other part of the book, which was about how Disney took over Anaheim, that was not included in the book, which is very political. So Hollywood has a way of filtering out. My father, who was blacklisted, made 57 pictures. None of his pictures, except for maybe Since You Went Away, or So Ends Our Night, which was about the beginning of the Nazi regime in Germany. So they managed to filter out a political point of view. Very rarely do you get a very strong political point of view, which you do in this film, The Promise, because the issue has been suppressed for so long that any attention brought to it is a benefit.
And this movie already has a ton of buzz on it, and it didn't even open yet. It's opening Friday. And according to the producer, promises are made and promises are broken. The one promise that must be kept is to live on and tell the story, which is what happens in The Promise.
That's correct. The man who produced it, Kirk Kerkorian, was Armenian, and he had made a promise to his family and to the Armenian people that he would get this story told. He couldn't do it when he was the head of MGM, because pressure was brought to bear by the Turkish government on the film industry, that if they produced any film which explicated what had happened in Turkey in 1915, they would not allow Hollywood film to be distributed in Turkey. So he couldn't do it for most of his life. At the end of his life, he was approached to do this project. He ponied up the $100 million, said, I don't want any return on this. Any money that is made from the sale of tickets to this film, I want distributed among charities that address the issues that are confronted in this film, like the Syrian refugee crisis. But I want to draw in as many people as possible, so I want to tell an engaging story that people can identify with, the best possible actors that you can, so that when people walk out of the theater, they say, well, that was a pretty good picture. What is it about this Armenian genocide? I never heard of that. And that way, the promise will be fulfilled. People will understand, and people can address a history that has been suppressed.
I just got a chill when you told that story. We're talking to James Cromwell. Yeah, very good. In The Promise, you play Ambassador Morgenthau. Do you prefer these kind of roles? Because it seems to me these roles were made for you.
Well, he has a certain amount of gravitas and outrage at what is happening, and I'm one of the few characters in the film that is outside of the narrative story. He's a real character. Because of his efforts, hundreds of thousands of Armenians were saved, and unfortunately he was not able to stop the genocide, but he recorded it in his dispatches back to Washington, and then when he got back, wrote a memoir which formed the basis, one of the bases of this film, and worked tirelessly for all his life to redress the wrongs committed against the Armenian people.
You're one of the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. And I get to play an extraordinary character, and of which a film should be made about his life, because it's extraordinary.
I was going to say, you when you play your roles, you definitely get into the roles, and that's what makes you such a great actor. James Cromwell.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking time to be with us here on the Rich Stevens Show. Before I let you go, do you prefer film or TV?
Well, it used to be that I would prefer film, but now television, for the most part, has gotten very good. They do really extraordinary work. They finally got away from doing television. They had to compete with films, and so because film has a bigger canvas to work with, so they changed their attitude towards what they were presenting, and that's why you get a 6 Feet Under or Game of Thrones or whatever it is. The work done, more is demanded of it, more is demanded of the audience. It's a different platform because it's not over the network. There's no restrictions on the language or the subject matter, and it can compete. And so it's 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other as far as an actor is concerned.
Got it. Well, keep doing great stuff, James. Really an honor to get you on the broadcast today, and best of luck with The Promise with Christian Bale in theaters nationwide this Friday. Thank you so much, and continuous success, and keep bringing us the great pictures.
I will do that. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Thank you. That's James Cromwell. Nice guy, huh? Pretty excited to talk to him. All right, there you go. I can't believe it's been 22 years since Babe, when he was in that movie. That just makes everybody feel old. And he said, I was old back then. All right, quick timeout. This is The Rich Stevens Show.